Hi, this is Juliet. Welcome back to my studio. This is an intro to a couple of videos I've put together showing you different ways of making leaves. They include leaf beads and leaves on headpins. I use a variety of different leaf pressing tools and patterning techniques with frits and glass, and some of them are designed to be constructed off mandrel with a bail. Some of them are on a mandrel where the bead becomes the hanger and it has the leaf off of it. The others are on head pins, and I use a variety of different kind of presses. You can see this style versus this style, and this one here is a different one, and this is yet another one. So there's a whole number of ways you can make leaves. So make sure you click like and subscribe, and there will be a set of 4 of these coming out in the coming days. Thanks for viewing. So this next demo, I'm going to show you how I use the Karen Leonardo tool. But before I start to use it, I'm just going to rub a little bit of beeswax on the surfaces on the inside. I don't want to put too much. I'm not trying to glob it up, but just get a very light, loose coat. The edges and the points is where the glass tends to stick if it's gonna stick to it. So usually, you know, before I sit down to use it, I'll just wipe a little bit on. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I use the Karen Leonardo feather or leaf tool to make a bead. And this bead is going to be actually a head pin on canthil wire, and it can be turned into a little hanging you know, loop or something and incorporated into jewelry. So I'm using the little holder, and it's one of Bronwyn Heilman's tool holders. I really like this one. I'm going to be using Bora Bora Frit from Val Cox. It's got a neat reduction and some beautiful red and fall tones. So for this, I'm just going to be using a Fetri Clear, and I want to just heat up the tip of the canthil wire. Get it glowing once, and then just kind of keep it in the neighborhood of the flame. You don't really need to have it super glowing hot. I'm going to make a gather on the end, and I'm going to want to cover the end probably 2 to 3 millimeters of the wire when I add my clear glass to it. I'm just going to touch it on, kind of wind it around, make sure it's fully incorporated into the glass, and wind that into a bit of a ball. And it's important to get the ball centered. That's sort of going to set the stage for your leaf. I need to add a little bit more glass on this side, get a little bit better centered. I tend not to superheat it because sometimes you can burn through the wire. I find it's either to just add a little bit of glass. We're going to be mashing it, so it's going to change a little bit, and it'll make a nice pucker around the edge. All right, so that's pretty stable on the mandrel, or on my wire, so I'm going to get another glob and add it to it so I have enough glass for my leaf. If you're going to be making several of these and you want them to match, the key here is to get your starting blob of glass about the same size. So if you have like a reference bead or a little something, a reference size, you know, like this sitting on your workbench, you can kind of eyeball and you know, get pretty close to the same volume of glass. Then you'll stand a better chance of getting some that match. Usually I end up having to make several, and then I mix and match and find the ones that go best together. Kind of hard to get them totally to match. Okay. So now I'm going to heat this up enough so I can pick up some frit with it, and I am using the stainless steel Chinese soup spoons for my frit. Convenient and little. You can have just a small amount. You can see my Bora Bora is almost gone. So just having a small amount in there is handy, and you can pick it up, and these pour nicely back into the container as well. So I'm going to switch hands here. I want to get this melted in. And as before, you can just straight melt it in, or you can take a pair of tweezers. These are tungsten tweezers. Give it a little bit of a twist, and that'll sort of blend the frit together a little bit. It makes a little bit more of a swirly motion on it. I'll remelt it a little bit more. It can be a little tough to get the frit on the top melted in without, you know, blobbing it, having it drip off the wire. That's why I'm kind of holding it at a different angle so the flame is hitting the glass at the top just to get that frit melted in. Okay, and so now we're getting ready to mush it. So these, this tool here has like a gap down the middle, and you want to align your wire down the center, because when you hang these, especially if you're using a transparent glass, it's kind of obvious if it's off-centered. So what I'm trying to do is get this rounded up and centered on my wire, and then you have to let a bit of a skin form first. If you put this all in here too hot, it will stick to these tongs because they are fairly thin, especially the small one, which is the one I'm using. So let a bit of a skin form, center that, and give it a quick press and release. You might have seen a little bit of a puff of smoke. That's from the beeswax. That helps keep it from sticking. So the next step here is to gently heat this up. You don't want to heat it up so much that you're going to lose the lines of the leaf, but we need to heat it up enough that we can stretch it and bring it into a leaf shape. So I'm heating up from both sides, back and forth. Sometimes on the tip, you might want to pull out a little bit of the frit and pull it kind of to a point to kind of make it look nice, which I'm going to try to do. There we go. It's going to be in jewelry, obviously you don't want to have a sharp edge there. Okay, so there we go. You can see that next, since this is a reduction frit, I'm going to turn down my oxygen. I'm not touching my propane, and I'm going to gently reduce it. I am past the end of the candles. I'm kind of wafting it back and forth, and I've got a lot of bright lights here, so what I'm looking for is a little bit of a metallic sheen. Trying to get an even sheen all over the bead. Now the Bora Bora also has some red, and so that you need to strike a bit, but the process we use to melt it and twist it and remelt it, that in essence heated it, cooled it a little bit, and so that did get the red striking, so you can kind of see the red tones in there. So this is now ready to go into the kiln, so I'm going to pop it in the kiln. I'm going to bring my pliers with me just in case it doesn't come off easy, and basically you can just loosen this a bit here and grab it out of your tool, and into the kiln it goes. So there are a number of things you can use leaves on headpins for. The first, most obvious one, is if you're making 2 per 1, you can make earrings, and they will more or less match. The other thing you can do is wind the wires and make small bales, and you can hang them in jewelry. I've made a number of pieces of jewelry. I tend to make coordinated spacers and put a small bead on either side of the bale, which makes it look nice and finished in the finished necklace. The other thing you can do is use the leaves, and you can make flowers and all sorts of other things too, and make little mini flower arrangements. So I put it in this glass vial. You can also blow a hollow vase, and I just placed the stems down in some 2-part epoxy. I used a syringe to put the 2-part epoxy in here, and they're in there pretty rigidly. They are not coming out anytime soon, and it makes a cute little flower arrangement. This is a larger size glass vial. I have some that I've made in smaller size glass vials too. And if you're into blind glass, you can also
blow your own small vases. I have another tutorial about blowing hollow vessels, and you can easily adapt those ideas and make your own small little vessels. Here's another idea you can use the glass leaves for. If you make them on the end of memory wire, you can then also wire wrap the part around the middle and make a pretty simple bracelet as well. Okay, have fun with these. Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this leaf tutorial. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and check out the full playlist that incorporates 4 different leaf bead designs. Happy fall season!